Bonjour and welcome to today's lesson where we are going to speak about les professions. Les professions are the professions. We are going to learn them in French. So here's a vocabulary, a list of vocabulary that can help you understand all about les professions. So firstly, while we are speaking about career, there are like two terms that we can use. We can say une profession or we can say une carrière. So make sure you stay tuned because there's a lesson where I'm going to speak about knowing the difference between masculine words and feminine words. How do we know the feminine of a masculine word? So for example, we have, when words end with R, we just add an E to make it feminine. So make sure you stay tuned, for in one of the lessons I'll teach you the difference between masculine and feminine words. So while speaking about craft you can say it's an métier, or you can say an art. Then, while speaking of a job, you can say un métier, we can say un travail, we can say un boulot, but un boulot is a bit informal. Then, while speaking about trade, you can say un métier. So, here are the different types of the professions in French. So, firstly, we have actor. Actor in French is an actor. But if it's a feminine actor, we say une actrice. That's an actress. Then we have artist. When it's a masculine, we say an artiste. When it's a feminine, we say une artiste. We have baker, it's known as un boulanger. Then when it's a feminine, we say une boulangère. When it's a butcher, we say un boucher. Then when it's a carpenter, we say un charpentier. Then when it's a cashier, we can say un caissière. When it's a feminine, we say une caissière. Then when it's a chef, we say un chef. But when it's a feminine, we say une chef. There's no difference, it's just the same. But when it's a civil servant, we say un fonctionnaire. That's a civil servant. But when it's a feminine civil servant, we say une fonctionnaire. Then we have dentist. For a dentist, it's an dentist. And when it's a feminine, we say une dentiste. Then we have doctor. When it's a masculine doctor, we say un médecin. But when it's a feminine, it's the same. We say une médecin. Then when it's an electrician, we say an electricienne. When it's a feminine electrician, we say une électricienne with double N and with an E. When it's an employee, we say an employé. And when it's a feminine, we say une employée. When it's an engineer, we say an ingénieur. But when it's a feminine engineer, we say une ingénieur. A firefighter, we say un pompier. When it's a lawyer or a barrister, we say an avocat. But since a feminine, we say an avocat. Then when if it's a manager, we say un gérant. But when it's a feminine manager, we say une gérante. A mechanic, we say un mécanicien. But for a feminine mechanic, we say une mécanicienne. Then when if it's a nurse, we say an infirmière. When it's a feminine nurse, we say une infirmière. When it's a painter, we say un peintre. But when it's a feminine painter, we say une peintre. Then we have a teacher. When it's a male teacher, we say un professeur, or we can say un prof. Or we can say an enseignant. When it's a feminine or when it's a female kind of teacher, we say une professeur with an E. Or we can say une prof. Or we can say une enseignante. Then when it's a pharmacist, we say un pharmacien. Then when it's a feminine pharmacist, we say une pharmacienne. A plumber, it's un plombier. So to make work easier for you, so that you can get the pronunciation, So words in French, if it ends with R but it doesn't have an E, don't pronounce the R. For example, the police, we say un policier, or the plumber, we say un plombier. But when it has an E, is when we pronounce the E. For a good example is where I was speaking about the for example, cashier. In masculine we say un caissier, un caissier. But when it's feminine, you say une caissière, une caissière, une caissière. Then it's a receptionist, we say un réceptionniste, un réceptionniste. Then when it's a feminine receptionist, we say une réceptionniste. Then when it's a scientist, we speak about une. When it's a feminine, we say une scientifique, une scientifique. But when it's a masculine scientist, we say un scientifique. There's no much big difference. Then when it's a secretary, we say un secrétaire. That's a masculine secretary. Then it's a feminine, we say une secrétaire, une secrétaire. And then when it's a student, we say un étudiant, un étudiant. See, I've pronounced it, but when it's a masculine, we say un étudiant, un étudiant. So if then we have a waiter. When it's a male waiter, we say un serveur. And then when it's a feminine waiter, we say une serveuse. Then to the last, we have writer. It's known as un écrivain, or when it's a feminine, we say une écrivaine. So thank you for watching. Make sure you stay tuned to get more videos. Thank you.